As an organizational leader, if you're committed to attracting and retaining the best people in all positions, employee benefits are a critical component to meeting that very objective, according to the Society for Human Resources Management. They report that 81% of today's employers consider things like retirement savings, planning, and leave benefits as critically important or extremely important offerings for the respective workforce. As organizations continue to compete for talent, retirement plans continue to be one of the most sought after benefits which employers can offer to continue to keep their top talent in-house. In this episode, I sit down with my friend Alex Langan. He is an ERISA attorney, a chief investment officer, a #1 best-selling author of the book 401k Exposed, and he's the founder of Langan Financial Group. He's built his reputation around challenging conventional wisdom when it comes to employer-sponsored retirement plans. After servicing as a Pennsylvania Supreme Court clerk and practicing ERISA law, he discovered what he believed is one of the most overlooked issues in all of corporate America today. Many employers unknowingly expose themselves to legal and fiduciary risk during the administration of their 401k plans, and during our conversation, Alex took some time to take a deep dive when it comes to why retirement plan providers may not always have incentives to be aligned with employers and employees, the fiduciary responsibilities many business owners and HR professionals inherit without any formal training, and the steps that organizations can take to better protect themselves and their workforce alike. And he joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. As am I. So, Alex, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. I'll wish you a good Thursday, and I'm excited to talk to you all about retirement plans, savings plans, and 401ks this afternoon. It's great to see you, and happy Thursday to you, my friend.
Happy Thursday.
So, Alex, I want to start by asking you, what gives you the most joy helping people with their 401ks and financial planning, my friend? Why do you love what you do, and what makes you so fabulous, my friend?
Great question. So, I do love what I do. A lot of people find it boring and nuanced, but I really enjoy all the different aspects of it. There's not one particular thing that I don't like doing. The overarching pleasure I get is just derived from having people be able to successfully retire or achieve their financial objective, help them do it. I always find it fascinating when somebody comes up to me and was like, hey, I'm never going to be able to retire. It's like, okay, let's sit down, run the numbers. And it's like, you can retire. You can retire now if you want to. And it's always just the anxiety that people feel leading up to it. And a lot of times when they achieve their objectives or goals, it's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Alex, I know that you're someone who said that a surprising number of employers offering 401ks may unknowingly be out of compliance, and their many retirement plan providers have little incentive to point it out, my friend. So, what do you think companies are missing, and where do you think the biggest risks usually show up? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
So the biggest issue I find is the lack of knowledge of that they have a fiduciary obligation, which means that they're legally required to put their participants or their employees' best interests above their own, even where it's not self-serving. So it's just sheer lack of knowledge. They're probably out of compliance because they have a fiduciary obligation to know if the fees are reasonable and to help educate the plan participants into not screwing up their retirement. So I find a lot of people like, oh, we have a plan provider. They're taking care of everything for us. It's all integrated. There's no problems. When the reality is that there's significant problems because those plan providers don't work for them. They're trying to maximize their corporate profit. But the vast majority are trying to do this. They're trying to maximize their corporate profit instead of trying to maximize the plan participants' retirement savings. And the two go against each other frequently because of high fees or bad funds. So it frequently occurs.
Yeah, absolutely. You also work with companies dealing with unclear 401k fees, compliance concerns, and lower employee participation. And I'm curious, for individuals who help coordinate retirement tax and estate planning across a number or multiple advisors, where do they typically see the biggest disconnect, and how can you help provide clarity, my friend? What are your thoughts on your role in that entire process?
Uh, I hate this analogy because it's way overused. It's the quarterback analogy where they kind of orchestrate everything and coordinate everything. But that at the heart is kind of what you need somebody to have the grand picture of everything going on, a comprehensive plan, and understanding of the goals, objectives, and the tools at people's disposal, whether the tools are, just money, or the plan designs from a 401k. Somebody has to coordinate, understand everything, and then maximize efficiency and effectiveness of the plan and the tools, whether it's, paying lower taxes, doing Roth conversions, maybe the asset allocation is misappropriated. It's just getting an overarching idea and financial plan together. And that's where the biggest disconnect occurs, is just at the very start of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Alex, I know you are someone with a unique background. I know you served as a clerk on the the Pennsylvania State Court, Supreme Court, and you've got legal training, and you use that in your financial advising, my friend. So, how does your legal training and writing those opinions help you on in that financial realm now that you're in the second phase or the next phase of your career, my friend? Tell me more.
So it helps being an attorney helps me, and I have a specialty in ERISA law as well as wills, trust, and estate planning. So uh, from the 401k side, I know the law inside and out. So it helps me to be able to follow it and realize when something should occur or not occur. Um, on the other side, it I clerked for Justice Aiken for quite a long time. He was amazing at always coming back to why are we doing this? Because everyone goes on different tangents. Like, what about this issue? What about this? He always brings it back to like, why do we do it here in the first place? And for most people, it's having a successful retirement, which is defined as not running out of retirement and living the lifestyle that you want to live, for up to 30, 40 years when you're not working. So usually I always come back to exactly why are we here? What are we doing? And then making everything else correspond to that initial reasoning. So the legal training has really helped me to focus on what's important for people and individuals, and then to customize it based off of what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and just based off your legal training and wills and trust, why do you think So many people put off the needs for creating wills and trusts until the later stages of life, and most Americans don't do it at all. So I'm wondering your thoughts on why it's so important that people do it, my friend.
Yeah, it's the issue is you have to come face to face with your own mortality. Like all of us are going to die. The only person that, arguably has beaten that is Jesus. So unless you're the second coming of Jesus, you're probably going to die. So based off of that reality, people don't want to face it. So, and even like power of attorney, healthcare derivatives, like, do you want to pull the plug? Do you not want to pull the plug? What about resuscitation? There's really awkward conversations or difficult conversations that you want to have, and people just don't want to face it. So I'm constantly hounding or harassing clients to be like, you need to get a will done. I just had one client drop over dead at 47 from a brain aneurysm. He had 5 kids, didn't have life insurance, had a multi-million-dollar business he's running. His his now widow and his children are in serious trouble because they refuse to plan. They will not come face to face with difficult decisions. It's very challenging, but people need to face that.
Yeah, so how do they approach that conversation? I know it's not an easy one to have, but how do you lessen the burden of such an impactful conversation in your view? What do you think people need to do?
I Be open and honest, be willing to have a difficult conversation, and I like to approach some of it with humor. I mean, it's you're never going to get out of life seriously. Like you're never going to get out of here alive. It's the way it works. You're going to die at some point. So just being open and honest and candid about it and going from there, you just move through the difficult decisions. Some of them you don't have to make, like the healthcare provisions. You can ultimately let your spouse or loved one decide. Um, but at least not making a decision is deciding not to plan. So it's something that has to be done. People have to be an adult about it and come willing and able to just have those difficult conversations.
Yeah, and Alex, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because the Pew Research Center earlier this year said that 40% of American adults either lack the confidence in their income and their assets will last through retirement, like their financial assets will last through retirement, or believe that they may never retire at all. So, what do you make of those numbers, and what does it tell you about sort of the financial anxiety many Americans face today? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
It's interesting. Yeah, financial anxiety is the number one cause for workplace failures where people are just they're not focused on what they should be doing. They're stressed out. They're anxious. We find putting in a financial wellness program significantly alleviates those concerns. But to go back to your 40% statistic, I'm not surprised. It is a representation of the failure of our education system and not providing financial literacy. Um, I think we should be doing. I had like an astronomy course as a GE course in college. Maybe I would have been better served having a financial literacy course where I can learn all about group retirement plans, checking savings, how to kind of consider how to retire, where to start, the power of compound interest. That would have been extremely helpful. Instead of now, I can identify a couple of pretty neat star formations, but otherwise, I think financial literacy is much more important.
Yeah, and to that point, CNBC reported this year that Americans believe that they need approximately $1.3 million dollars to retire in the bank from a comfortability standpoint. Yet, only 9% of those households save more than $500,000 for retirement, my friend. So, what do you make of that? And what do you think, Americans need to know about the importance to save for retirement? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, obviously it's extremely important to save for retirement. The 1.3 million number, I take that with a grain of salt. Everyone's different. Everyone's numbers should be different. A couple of issues there. So 1.3 million, take a 4% withdrawal rate. That's about $52,000, I believe, a year in income without touching your principal. That combined with Social Security, maybe you're getting $20,000 to $30,000. So that'll leave you somewhere between maybe 75,000 or so in money. That's probably good for the vast majority of Americans. Other ones want more, others need less. So take that number with a grain of salt. That said, I bet the vast majority of Americans are failing to plan for retirement. I hope most of them are not going to rely on Social Security. Social Security is going to default in 2032 as of right now. So people currently receiving benefits will not receive the 100% vested amount that they're supposed to receive. There's ways to fix it, but politicians will not spend the political capital required to make it funded. So it's going to be a wait and see game. But talk about financial anxiety, people not receiving the current benefits that they're entitled to for Social Security should cause major, major financial anxiety.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your investment philosophy because I know that you emphasize a coordinated retirement, tax, and estate strategies along with a fiduciary guidance without sales pressure, my friend. So talk to me about your sales approach and what you want people to understand about it, buddy.
So going back to my legal days as a clerk for the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, I come back. We customize everything for people. We're objective based for our investment philosophy. We take the appropriate amount of risk to get people to achieve their financial dreams or goals. So it all comes back to what the game financial plan is, and then we go from there. How much risk do we have to take? And then based off of that risk, then we're coming up with the asset allocation. We've no proprietary funds, so we're not trying to stick somebody in any particular product, ETF, stock, bond, whatever it is. We go out there and we find what's best for them, and then we customize our approach accordingly. All based off of the financial plan that we initially talk about to see why are we even here in the first place? What are we trying to achieve? What's the gap we have to fill for retirement? How do we have to make it up with market performance? Are we taking too much risk? Are you on target to achieve your objective? Is so. Maybe not take so much risk because we are getting towards the ninth inning in a bull market. So we don't know when a bull market's going to die and switch to bear market, but there's no reason to take unnecessary risk if you're already achieving your goals.
Yeah, and Alex, I know you live in Pennsylvania, my friend, and you've made a couple of sports references so far during our conversation. So I'm wondering if you had a passion for sports and what drew you to sports now and into the future, my friend. Why do you love sports, bud?
That's funny. I do love sports. I'm very competitive. Drives my wife crazy. I played football and ran track in high school, and I ran track at Penn State. So I was a sprinter way back when. I really really enjoy it, and I admire athletes that are willing to work hard and achieve their goals. Every day they got to put in the work just to get a little bit better. So it's a passion of mine, a hobby. I enjoy watching sports. I like coaching my kids' basketball team. Now I did coach soccer for a little bit. Sports are just great. I enjoy some friendly competition.
Well, I tell you, I always tell people that sports are the only bonding agent that brings people together, regardless of social economic status and political
100%.
alignment. So, I went,
100%.
yeah, I went to school to become a sports reporter initially,
Wow.
it's a good way to bring people together. But Alex, I also wanted to talk to you about the need for financial plans because our friends at Yahoo Finance, my friend, say that 68% of Americans don't have a documented financial plan when it comes to how they want to spend their money. And I know that you're a guy who dots your I's and crosses your T's, my friend. So tell me why it's so important for people to know where their money's going and to have a financial roadmap. What are your thoughts there, my friend?
Well, it comes back to, I believe it was Steve Covey that said, start with the end in mind. So, what's the point of all this? If you have no idea what you're trying to achieve, where you're trying to get to, how much money you need for retirement, what are we doing here? What are we saving for? How much money do we need in retirement? How do you know when you get there? I get frustrated with people that just want to maximize their returns. I get it. Everyone wants to make money, but at some point it crosses over from investing to gambling. And it's a slippery slope for okay, I'm trying to really hit 10%, 15%, 20%. All of a sudden, are you just going to throw it all in black and just bet it all? Like at some point, you're switching from not having a financial plan to just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And maybe I'll be able to double some of my money. Maybe I'll lose it all. You need to start with a plan because you need to know where you're going to. And first, start with the end in mind, where you're gonna go to, what's the objective, and then you gotta map out what do I have, where am I putting my money, how am I saving, how am I budgeting, and then it's an easy step-by-step process to go from where am I at today to where do I want to be. And if you're retiring in 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, in 5 years, you're able to map it out to make sure you're going to achieve your goals. I hate for people that get to the end, they're 65, 67, and then they realize, crap, I can't retire. I got to keep working. That is the worst feeling in the world for people to have to experience, especially when they've already worked 40, 45 years of their lifetime to have to keep going.
Yeah, and to that point, Alex, I want to now talk to you about financial literacy, buddy, because our friends over at Empower, they say that 35% of Americans are unfamiliar with how financial interest works, and another 43% can't accurately explain what a 401k is and how it works. So tell me, what do you think of those findings, and what does it tell you about the financial literacy of America today, my friend?
It's sad. Yeah, it's sad. It's hard to fathom the power of compound interest in and of itself. You start with one grain of sand and keep doubling and doubling and doubling. Eventually, you're going to get to a beach quicker than you realize. So for people to be able to learn as much as possible about the power of compound interest, it will motivate them to start saving at a younger age, and they won't have to work as hard. Over a 15-year period in the stock market, pick any 15-year period, there's a 99.9% chance that you're going to make money over 15 years. So if I start at 25 or 30, I'm going to make money before I retire. It's all but guaranteed. So for people not to understand that and not to learn how quickly your money can compound and then start doubling and doubling, it's unfortunate. You tie that in with the 401k is one of the most tax advantageous ways to do it, one of the simplest to constantly save and contribute to retirement. That's the best of both worlds. And when you're in the stock market, which on average makes 8 to 10%, it's a no-brainer to do it. It's just trying to educate and motivate people to start doing it on day one.
Yeah, and Alex, I'm curious to get your thoughts on what it means to be a savvy sort of a financial observer. And what I mean by that is, what do you think it means for people to be, cognizant of where their money is going, how they're spending it, and budgeting, quite frankly, because most people, if they don't have a budget in this economy, they live paycheck to paycheck, and when it's time to stop working, they don't have a financial foundation to stand on. So tell me about what you think it means to be savvy with your finances, my friend. What are your thoughts?
What it means to be savvy with your finances and what I believe it means is that you have the wherewithal to know exactly what you're doing with your money. You know exactly how much you're saving, whether it's for retirement, whether it's to buy a house, whether it's to take your family on vacation. You are working diligently on that. You're tracking the vast majority of your dollars, whether it's passively through just having different accounts that automatically divvy up once you get your paycheck, to more actively where you were literally transferring out dollars into different accounts, whether, I don't know, you're using Acorn that's swiping up, rounding up to the nearest cent, giving you that money. There's so many different ways to do it, but to be a master of your checkbook, of your bank account, knowing where your money's going, sticking to your game plan, that is to be savvy with your money and your investments.
Yeah, and this is the last statistical question I'm going to ask you today, but Gallup says that 83% of American adults earning at least $100,000 annually have a retirement savings plan, compared to just 28% of households earning under $50,000. So I'm curious, what does that tell you about the financial inequality in America today and its relationship to, income across long-term financial security? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
It highlights the wealth gap. I mean, it's across the entire globe at this point, but it highlights the wealth gap and widening wealth gap, especially in America. There is a K-shaped economy, is what they call it. K meaning one's going up and continuing to do well, the other one is getting worse and worse off. Lower income households are part of the ones that are getting worse off because of inflation. We are actually on the bubble of potentially having stagflation, which is not a good. Only people that have real assets are the ones that are benefiting in those types of situations, whether it's real estate, gold, silver. Um, Inflation protection assets will help. The lower income households do not have that. They're living paycheck to paycheck, and their paycheck is going less and less purchasing power because inflation keeps eroding it. So you try to buy, ground beef. It's like $10 for a pound or so. It's crazy. It's getting really, really challenging for lower income households to keep up on day-to-day life, whether it's just buying groceries, trying to get gas to get to work, compared to higher earning households who are actually well positioned because they have assets in the stock market, which keep hitting all-time highs. They own their house. They maybe have an investment property. They are able to weather the storm with inflation and with the purchasing power being less and less.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, I'm curious to get your opinion on the importance of employee benefits and the importance that employers have to place on them in order to, upsell their employee experience when they're recruiting and attempting to retain employees, especially in this time of inflation, my friend. How difficult do you think it is for employers to continue to offer great employee benefits, but how important is it still that they do that in order to attract and retain top talent? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
It's exceptionally important. I find it interesting. There's certain companies around that I see that they're geared to hiring younger workers like out of college. So they focus on, oh, we have pizza parties, we have a food truck come in. The more mature and sophisticated the employees get, the more they realize it's really about the benefits package. How's my health insurance? What are my premiums on that? What's the coverage? What are you doing in a 401k? Are you matching or giving me profit sharing? What else am I getting? Disability insurance, maybe some term life insurance. The the more sophisticated workers are attuned to that, and for those people, it is significantly important. Um, and it's We're at a full employment according to the Fed's target, being under 5%. We're at a full employment, so retaining those key employees that you really like and enjoy working with and that are hard workers, you need to step up and really kind of resharpen your pencil, to maybe offer some really good benefits. And it's getting hard because health insurance premiums are increasing like 20% per year on average. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the coin, how invested do you think that employees need to be about the performance of their 401ks and their health benefits uh, during their working years in order to know exactly what they're stepping into once they approach retirement? What are your thoughts there?
They need to pay attention to it. Don't do it every day. You'll drive yourself crazy. Here is the most important time that people should pay attention to it. Within 5 years of retiring and 5 years after retirement, the sequence of returns are the most important over any other period in your life. 5 years to retirement, 5 years after retirement. That's because that is what will dictate approximately when you start to withdraw. So you stop doing income or wealth accumulation, and you go to income distribution. Completely different. Sequence of events really, really matters for income distribution and does not matter as much for income accumulation or wealth accumulation. The most important deciding factor when you're accumulating wealth is when do you start and how much are you putting in? So start younger. You may not have to put in as much, or if you put in a lot because you won't need it yet, maybe you're still living at home, it's going to help you tremendously later in life. It's just constantly putting it in. Hopefully you can increase a little bit. And then the market's going to do what the market does. Any given year, you got a 2/3 chance of it being positive. We're in a bull market. So we've had the last, depending on what your belief when the bull market started, it's either 2009 or 2013. We don't have to really get into it right now. Technicians can argue that, but regardless, we're over a 10-year period of a secular bull market. This is one of the the greatest times to accumulate wealth. When the bear market occurs, just keep putting money in. You need to be aware of this. If you're within 5 years of retirement or you're 5 years after retirement, like I said, that is when this really, really matters. But the most important thing is just how much you're putting in, and when you start.
Yeah, and my second and last question for you, Alex, is this. For anybody watching or listening to this today, I'm curious to get your final message when it comes to people who may be feeling overwhelmed about retirement planning or their taxes or investments and their financial uncertainty. What do you think are practical steps that they can take now to lessen the burden of their concern? What are your thoughts there, my friend?
I think the easiest step is to call me. I'll help you.
Fair
uh,
enough.
in in all in all reality, gather everything you have. Know what you're working with. Get all your statements. Know where you're at right now. As if you don't know where you're at, you don't know what you have. I mean, it's all for nothing. So you're taking enough risk. If you're young, you should have more equities than bonds. If you're older, maybe a mix, maybe some alternatives. So I would say and then start there, and then start gathering the information for how much you need in retirement. And it's a total number. I usually rule of thumb's a 4% rule. You have $1 million, you can withdraw 4%. That's $40,000 a year. Is that sufficient for you?
Uh,
So that's what I would
yeah,
start with.
yeah, absolutely. And Alex, finally, I'm a big believer in the power of self-reflection and the power of building legacies. And I know that you've spent your career helping people navigate, the complexities of financial issues, and you've also helped people in the legal field. So I'm curious for you, how do you want your legacy to be measured from both a personal and professional standpoint, my friend?
Professional, I want people to think or know that I put my clients' interest above my own, that I did everything and anything I can to help them successfully retire or achieve their financial goals, whatever it is, buy a second house, do that dream vacation, whatever it is. I want people to look back and be like, yeah, Langan Financial Group significantly helped me achieve my goals. From a personal side, I got 3 kids. I married my high school sweetheart. I want them to enjoy their childhood, have fun, and hopefully consider that I've worked my butt off to to have a successful life and to make my children happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with the Langan Financial Group and yourself personally, what's the best way they can do that, my friend?
Our website is langanfinancial.com, Langan Financial Group. You can Google that, just Langan Financial Group, or you can just email me directly. It's Alex, Alex, at Langan, Langan, financial.com.
Fabulous, my friend. Well, I want to thank you for your passion and obviously your persistence when it comes to financial literacy and all the great work that you do to help people retire smarter, happier, and with more money in their pockets. I really enjoyed our conversation
Thanks,
this
Kevin.
afternoon, and I want to thank you for being here. It's most appreciated.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Kevin. It was fun.